It's cold.
Fresh off the tank, baby.
Let's see what it tastes like.
That's right.
Hey, that's good. That's good stuff right there. We've got this giant pile of dirt. We've excavated a 130-foot tunnel underneath this building. They're having some problems with their drains. We came out and we diagnosed it, determined that they had several broken pipes and failed drains. So we got out here. We're at the brewery here at Lakewood Brewery here in Dallas, Texas. This is just a portion of the dirt that we've dug out so far. We've got our access tunnel over here. This is where we're going under the building from outside and tunneled 130 feet under. And we got the crews on site. They're working hard. Well, we're hoping somebody can explain to us what's all happening here with the magic of this brewing equipment.
You want to know what everything is? Is that what you want to know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us what it is and how it works.
Come on, bud. You need 4 things for beer: water, malt, hops, yeast, right? Everything starts here in the grain room. As you pulled up outside, you saw a big old grain silo in front of this building. So we load that up with our base malt. And then through an auger system, it comes in upstairs through that machine right there. So it augers into there, dumps down into here. We program on this panel the amount of weight of grain that we're gonna need to mill. This is what milled grain looks like, right? As it's being milled, there's another auger that sends it straight up here into the grist box, right? This is where the grain is collected before we start brewing. So come back around. This is our NSI 30 barrel system. This is our brew house. This is what we brew on. This is your mash tun. So like I was explaining, when you have your grain in your grist box, what we do is we mash in, or we call it doughing in. What we're doing is we're introducing water, right, at a specific temperature. As the auger feeds this with grain, it combines the grain and the water so it doesn't clump or lump. There are rakes here. As we introduce water and grain, these rakes are turning. It's preventing any lumps and clumps. We mash in here for about an hour, roughly. Once that is accomplished, we introduce hot water. We're using water as the weight to push all the sugars and starches out of this vessel into the boil kettle. Once we go into the boil kettle, we'll turn our steam on and we start boiling. Once the water comes up to a boil, that's when we add our first 60-minute charge. 60-minute charge of hops is your bittering for your beer. Every other hop addition after the 60-minute is all for aromatics. Once that's accomplished, they're gonna cast off from the boil kettle to the Whirlpool. What happens in the Whirlpool is we're using a pump, we're using centrifugal force, and we're taking all the hop material that's in suspension and it builds it up into a cone right in the middle of this tank. This normally will sit for about 20 minutes. Once that happens, we're gonna do what's called knocking out, which means we're gonna transfer this hot wort, which is just sugar water, through this heat exchange right down here. It's blue. This is a heat exchange. This is the one that we use. So as we're knocking out, we're getting hot wort that's about 185 degrees. We run it through our heat exchange. What we're doing is we're introducing cold water to this, and it's like a radiator. So it takes hot wort, converts it down to 68 degrees. So from here, we normally have a hose, and then we're gonna go into the cellar. And the cellar is where we ferment our beer and then we carb our beer when it's over. Come on with me. This is our cellar. We have a number of 230 barrel tanks. We normally brew a 180 barrel batch into these. But typically what would happen is we would have a hose going straight to one of these tanks. As the beer fills this tank up, then we will introduce yeast. Once we introduce yeast, we'll do our final pitch of yeast into the beer. Once the wort is in there, then the yeast creates a violent reaction. It's called Krausen. And what happens is the yeast is gobbling up the starches and sugars in the liquid and it's farting out alcohol. But one of the violent byproducts of that is the Krausen, starts with a K. And typically, and I'll show you, we have these blue buckets that are next to these tanks. So typically there will be a hose attached to this blow off into a bucket because it's such a violent reaction. The Krausen needs to go someplace out of the tank and it comes right to a bucket. The reason why we saturate the buckets is that there's no possibility of foreign infection, any contaminants getting into the finished product. Once the beer is fermented, then come with me. Typically it takes about 2 weeks and a couple of days for a beer to ferment. But after it ferments, what we do is we run it through that machine right there. That's a centrifuge. That's like the Ferrari of beer filters. What it does is it spins the beer at a high RPMs and discharges all the yeast products or anything in suspension. What comes in is cloudy, what comes out is crystal clear. From that, it goes into one of these tanks. So these are Brite tanks. These are the tanks that we use to carbonate our beer once it's finished. Once we do that, it's good to package. We have a microbiologist on staff. What he does is he tests the beer throughout the entire process, from fermentation, post-fermentation, when it goes into these Brite tanks, and then as soon as you can see here, we are packaging a finished beer from a Brite tank, except it's a different one. That's it, that's the process. So from the moment you brew it to the moment it's done is about 2.5 weeks. Filter it, and then packaging, it all depends on supply and demand. There you go.
What's your name?
I'm Joey.
Joey.
Yeah.
Brian.
Pleasure.
That was great.
Yeah, dude.